me a song about that.
Test 1, 2. What's up, people? It's your bald head OG baby, Mr. Mike, turning up entertainment, and this is another edition of Over the Top Podcast. Over the Top Podcast, where we talk about those over the top topics. All right. Joining me shortly. I'm waiting for my co-host, the lovely Saya Malone. Also missing the action last week, but will definitely be in the office, aka the building. I got my man Seth the Prophet. Seth the Prophet, always dropping jewels, knowledge, and hot topics. All right. Shout out to everybody on my YouTube channel, and that's Turn That Up 215 Shizzo. Make sure you check that out. Shout out to everybody on my Wisdom podcast app. All right, and that's also entitled Turn It Up 215 Shizzo. Tonight we're gonna be talking about relationships when you're young versus relationships when you're older. The good, the bad, the ugly. We're gonna be talking about that, and of course we're gonna have Seth the Prophet. We're gonna have him tuning in. Hope everybody had a really good July 4th. It seems like July 4th is turning into July shoot 'em up days now. Like, all across this wonderful country of ours, somebody was popping a gun off somewhere. I don't know what's up with that, but that's the state of the world that we're living in right now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give my co-host, we're going to give her a couple more minutes. We wait for her. We can take a little pause for the cause. You know I like playing that music. All right, follow me. Follow me on my YouTube channel. Turn That Up 215 Show. Check me out on the Wisdom app. Turn It Up 215 Shizzo. We right back at you. I'm your bald head OG baby, Mr. Mike, and this is the Over the Top Podcast, where we talk about your over the top topics. All right, and that's my co-host. She about to zoom in, and when I was younger, I'm older now, and to me, it just seemed like maybe it's me, but to me, it just seemed like dating was maybe because I was younger and I didn't give a you know what. But definitely when I'm older, it just seemed like, you know, you would think adults would be more serious. That's why, I couldn't wait to get older because, I just knew adults, keyword adults handle things the correct way. You know what I mean? Wasn't no bullshit. It was straight up. This how it is. But as I got older, I learned that wasn't the case. You know. So what do y'all think? When you was younger, was dating easier to you compared to when you're older now that you're older? Do you feel like older people, men and women, they say one thing, do another? I mean, what is it? Is men full of shit? It's the women full of shit. Now I'm gonna be biased with that. You know what I'm gonna say, right? I'm gonna say women say one thing, do another. That's my take on it. That is my take on it. Relationships. When you're younger, when you're young versus when you're older. Once again, my take is, I think it's a lot of BS when you get older. When you're young, you don't care. One chick leave, another chick come. But I must say, the things that you do when you're young will definitely catch up with you when you're older. So let me say that. So you don't want to be a hoe. I'm just gonna say to all adults, you don't want to be a male hoe or female hoe when you're young. That's not good. So what do you think? If you want to join in on the topic on my on the app, just click the button. You can join in. Right now, I'm waiting for my co-host, the lovely Saya Malone, joining us. Thursday night, City Brotherly Love. I'm your bald head OG baby, Mr. Mike, and this is another edition of the Over the Top Podcast, where we talk about the over the top topics. Tonight, we talking about dating when you're young versus dating when you get older. I personally think uh, dating when you get older is way more complicated than when you're young. At least when you're young, you don't know shit. You would think that as you get older, that you would know something, but sometimes that's not the case. All right. Once again tonight, we got my man Seth the Prophet. He'll be coming through, spreading some love. All right. It's Thursday night, City Brotherly Love. I'm your bald head OG baby, Mr. Mike, and this is Turn It Up 215 Shizza. If you want to join in the live stream, you can check me out on YouTube at Turn It Up 215 Shizza. Tonight we talking about dating. Dating when you're young versus dating when you're older. The good, the bad, the ugly. All right. Technical difficulties. All right. Uh, I'm streaming live on YouTube, and like always, live shows. Live shows definitely come with technical difficulties. All right. So I'm waiting for my co-host to join in. But if anybody on my app want to join in, let's see. Let's invite people to see what happens. All right. And once again, my name is Mike. This is Turn Up 215 Shiz Up. I come at you every Thursday with the over the top topics. Tonight we're talking about dating, man. Dating when you're young versus dating when you're older. What's the difference, man? The good, the bad, the ugly people. Talk to me, man. I like when I was younger, man. So much fun and free fun, no worries. But definitely when you get older, you get to worry about everything, feelings, emotions. So I guess you probably say how old I am. I'm an OG baby. I turned 55. I turned 55 July 5th. I was definitely a July 5th baby. Shout out to my mama, because she was walking around in this heat. She's walking around in this heat pregnant. Speaking of moms, speaking of that dating when you're young versus dating when you're older. So my mom and pop, they were childhood sweethearts. So I would say my mom dated one when she was younger, but she dated more as she got older. So once again, I'm your boy, OG Baby, Mr. Mike. This is another edition of the Turn It Up 215 Shizzo. I'm going to take a little pause for a cause. Waiting for my special guest and my co-host to tune in. Go quench my thirst. Shout out to everybody in New York. I was in New York for the 4th of July. And Manhattan is very expensive. I don't know what's up with Manhattan, but Manhattan is very expensive. And once again, I'm streaming live. If anybody want to join in on the hot topic, the topic tonight is relationships. Relationships when you're young versus relationships when you're older. The good, the bad, the ugly. Right back, Saya. All right, right back at you. I'm your bald head OG baby, Mr. Mike. My lovely co-host, she is in the building, aka the office. Look at that big smile. So y'all can't see the smile, but she cheesing right now.
How we doing?
What's up, Saya?
What's going on, Mike?
I needed that right there. Thank you for joining our fans tonight, Saya. Thank you very much. Let's give Saya a round of applause.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So tonight we talking relationships. The good, the bad, the ugly. When you're young versus, see the key is when you're young versus when you get older. And me personally, I say, when you get older, things get more complicated.
I don't know.
But see, you're still young, Saya, so you know we definitely need your point of view from a young woman's point of view versus a older OG point of view. You know, mine gonna be different anyway.
Right. But
Opposed to
you've been young before though.
yes, and that's why I know, right? And you're gonna. That's why I've been young before, and you're about to get old.
Right.
That's how the world works.
You're about to get old.
Hey, son, that's how the world works. When I was younger, I was young and free. I was young and free. I guess when you get older, you start to care more.
That's
That's kind of my thoughts on it.
I agree. You have more
So
morals.
Say it again.
Like your morals and stuff develop. Your
Facts.
values. Yeah.
Facts. I guess that's a good and bad thing. Your morals or your feelings, or a little bit of both.
I feel like you always have feelings, but I don't think unless you're really taught, like a young person really doesn't, always have morals or understand like the values in life. So you learn that through experience as you get older. But feelings you always going to have.
AKA, that's why when you're young, you don't be giving a fuck.
Exactly. That's still a feeling though. Like to feel like you don't care, that's a feeling. And then when you do care, that's like, a better one.
You're like, bro, I don't even care, man. On to the next one.
Yo, seriously, that's insane, but that's what happens.
Then when you get older, you wanna, work things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about it. So let me ask you this. What things as a young lady right now that you might think on change as you get older? That's a thoughtful question right there.
It is, but I could see one thing off the top of my head would definitely be like what I consider fun and what I consider hobbies, I think change as you get older. Like when you were an older woman, what was fun back then you used to get away with, but it's like now you're older, you got certain responsibilities, things look at them. That's definitely one thing I think.
So it's like you doing something, you just not doing the same thing that you was doing before.
Yeah, like some women find, for example, dating multiple men fun. Which I mean, each his own. But as you get older, you realize that's not really fun. That's actually more of a headache. I think I'm better off with just one. So like your fun kind of changes, and you end up thinking that this one person is just as fun as those five as you get older.
Facts. And once again, that's AKA your feelings and all that being starting to grow.
Yep.
Do you party the same?
No. I mean, some people do. Some people party more because you got young women that have kids really young, and then they feel like when they get older, that's their time to live. Yeah. But I think generally, as you get older, being in the party scene and being in clubs and all that stuff, it just becomes less fun. I don't know. Again, to each his own, but I think as a real woman, you're not going to want to be somewhere where men is constantly hitting on you. Like, I don't like that. I don't like men touching me. I don't like men trying to talk to me all the time. Like, I don't get a rise out of, denying multiple men throughout the day. Like, no. So all that stuff becomes different.
You say you don't get a rise out of denying multiple men per day?
I don't. Some women do, though. It boosts their self-esteem.
So are you confessing? Are you telling one of the women's secrets? Is that written in a woman's book? They walk around talk about how many men they done shot down today. That's really facts, though. Yeah. That's facts because my friend, she used to tell me the stories that dudes used to say to her. And this is regular. Yes. This is an everyday thing. All right, I'm your OG baby, Mr. Mike. It's Thursday night, City of Brotherly Love. All right, I'm trying to bring Seth the Prophet. That's my man, Seth the Prophet, hopping in, joining us tonight. Hello, Seth, and say hello to my lovely co-host. This is Saya Malone.
How you doing, Asaya?
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Oh, what's up, Mike? How you doing?
I'm okay. But before I give you the stage, we talk about relationships.
Oh yeah, y'all good. I was just testing the camera. If y'all want to finish your conversation, I was just making sure the camera was right. I didn't know.
No, it's too late now, dog. You in the view.
All right, well, that's cool. All right, so where did I hop in at then?
Yo, he trying to. Hey, Sai, he trying to get out of it, Sai. Yeah, he don't want to ask.
No. Where did I hop in? Let me know.
His girlfriend probably in the background, like, yeah, I want to see what he gonna say.
I was purposely avoiding this segment.
You know I'm silly.
My partner is definitely in the background. I think they're asleep though.
Okay. All right, people. I'm silly like that. I'm your bald head OG baby. This is the Overdatop Podcast. Okay. Tonight I got my special invited guest, my ex-coworker, my friend. I got the Prophet. I got Seth the Prophet joining us. And he gonna share some words of wisdom with us.
Yeah, I mean, are you sure you're done with the relationship thing? I'm here for it if you need me to be.
No, we good, Seth. This is a live show, dog. This is not recorded, man.
All right, I got you. Okay.
This is a live show, dog.
All right. So, how y'all doing? I'm Seth the Prophet. Me and Mr. Mike, thank you for the introduction. Me and Mr. Mike worked together for a while. Now I own a small business called where's the camera at? Strictly Fronto. Ugh, man. I'm like, ooh, everything is mirrored on this thing. Ooh.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is. I should probably
What you want to do? You want to try it again?
Nah, I'm just messing. But basically, my company's name is Strictly Fronto. It's like a rap company, like a Backwoods or a Swishers, but just like a healthier version, whole leaf versions, and the 5-pack versions. So that's a little bit about that company. But I came on here really to talk about essentially just supporting Black business and like what that looks like, and am I frozen?
You went for a second.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Got it. All right. Yeah. So basically, I have like a 3-minute clip of an article by Forbes, basically just talking about Black buying power. Something. It's like a quick thing. I'm going to share my screen. I see the share button. Give me a second.
See, that's what I like. That's what I'm talking about, man. Seth the Prophet, man. Always saying words of wisdom, flipping things, making Black people think. That's
I care a lot about essentially not just Black business, but more just the concept of like Black people thriving within like whatever culture we choose to live in, because there's ways to thrive, and there's a lot of reasons why Black people don't thrive based on systematic oppression and other things. And there's also a lot of like ways that we can help each other thrive and shortcuts to like this kind of system that is built around us. And I think the best way to really do anything is to build your own system. So it's like, okay, we can influence the system, but we can also build our own communities, our own systems, our own, chains of supply chains, things like that within Black business. But here's the article real quick.
Okay, and what's
It's
the
a
article
great way to
basically
spread
saying?
awareness. Having high is illegal everywhere. I'll catch you some.
All right, I guess I can't stop this ad from happening. I tried
No,
to
you can't
use my
stop the
computer.
ad.
I could probably. Oh, you know what? Give me a second. All right, cool.
Of course.
I got it on mine though, Seth. It's on mine. You got it?
Drive
Yeah,
high.
I just
feel
muted myself.
different.
The
All right,
$300
here it
billion
goes.
Black American consumerism bag breeds big business opportunities. The $300 billion Black American consumerism bag breeds big business opportunities. By Corey Hale. At 47.8 million strong, African Americans are the second largest consumer group, presenting businesses with a $300 billion opportunity stake in this community. Despite being 13.4% of the U.S. population, Black households accounted for just under 10% of the nation's total spending on goods and services in 2019, according to McKinsey. However, if companies interpret this data as proof that there's little profit in serving Black consumers, they are making a multi-billion mistake. The breakdown you need to know. In 2019, consumer expenditures by Black households totaled approximately $835 billion. And combined spending by all Black households has increased 5% annually over the past 2 decades. Culture Banks noted when you read that African Americans have $1.4 trillion in spending power, it's an incredibly impressive number. Even more so when you realize that's more money than Spain, Mexico, Netherlands, Turkey, or Switzerland generate annually. It's nearly unimaginable to think that the collective purchasing power of Black Americans is greater than most developed nations. There are 2 strategies for companies to pursue: expanding local access to goods and services and creating offerings that are better tailored to the needs and preferences of Black households to take part in this $300 billion opportunity. Nielsen's research shows Black consumers are tastemakers when it comes to setting the tone for mainstream brand choices. Our research.
All right, so we can end there, and basically. The gist of this article, like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of information. There's like some big figures in there and some things that is saying like more concretely, like, hey, we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money. We spend more money than most nations. We spend like just as a people, African American. And this isn't like this is Black people. Like Black people is a general term, but when we're talking about this figure, we're literally just talking about Black people in America. So this amount of money is insane, essentially. It's a crazy amount of money. It's just because essentially we have 10% of the GDP, right? The economic spending power of the whole nation. And, you know, they say we're only 17% of the country or something like that, or a little less.
Did I miss the end? Did I miss the end? Because my shit froze. Did y'all know this?
No, I closed it out after it said that we influence trends heavily.
Okay.
Just because
listen, hey Seth, see, that's why I brought you on, Seth, because that was some interesting shit right there. What you say, Saya?
Yeah, I agree.
That was some interesting shit right there. And my question would be if we got all that money, where the hell we spending it at?
Exactly.
Right. Now that's the question, right? So currently, I think most of the figures say cars, designer clothes, real estate and houses has been upticked lately, and investments too, but it's not enough, right? And so what I'm here, like, basically to talk about as the big like thing is, okay, like what can this much money buy, right? It's like, all right, this much money can buy. Like it said, a small country.
A country, yeah.
Like we have the GDP bigger than most countries, just as spending power as a people. So it's like, okay, if we have this amount of money, what can we do with it? And the answer is really we can do whatever we direct our intentions to do with it, whatever we want, essentially. And I'm not going to get into big things like things don't even really, like, the most expensive thing is like, something that none of us need. But when it comes to resources and things like that, it's not like you need $10 billion or $1 billion to amass resources. You really only need a small amount of the money that we're already spending to put into resources that then in turn turns into, right. And that's what we're talking about next. So the question is, why don't we do that then? And I think it comes down to a lot of things, right? First of all, it comes down to systematic oppression and like having a mindset that we were given and tailored with from things like, and I have nothing against religion or Christianity or anything. I was raised Christian and all this kind of stuff. But basically, religion and as a whole, and then you take consumerism that comes from capitalism, and you put these two together, it brings this mindset that that basically fosters like people valuing the way they look and the way that people perceive them versus
opposed to
how they feel and what they're actually doing and what their intentions are. And as
AKA that's why a lot of people with money don't dress too fashionably. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, when you
outside
of our culture, right? Because our culture, again, we take this consumerism thing and run with it. I think a lot because of the way that we've been told that we're not enough and not anything within this society. So when we get something, we want to show people that we have it. And that makes a lot of sense. That's normal, perfect psychology. However, we need to recognize this and get out of that mindset, because if we don't, we're going to drown in these possessions that we see as relevant, that have relevance to anybody that is not anybody, that don't have relevance on a real level. Let's just say it like that don't bring you more wealth, that don't bring you more happiness, that doesn't bring your family more prosperity. So it's like, okay, if we shift our focus with this money, so we talk about why we're like this, okay, so I think the next part of this is partly right, is when we support Black businesses, a lot of times a big issue with it is that within the supply chain, we don't have a lot of Black owned like sources. So the things that we're getting often we get from people that are not Black. And so that's a big thing that we can feel the need for, right? Like as a Black person, you can become a supplier of almost anything. And then given the right marketing, given the right mindset, and given the right team, because that's the three important things: marketing, mindset, and team. Like you're gonna be able to establish something that nobody really can. I mean, people can. I don't want to say take away from you. It's just that something that you can build up that people will support regardless, because it's Black owned and because you're doing the right thing by your people. And combination of things like always leads to success. If you see it in the market with Black owned businesses, you see them doing right by their people, and you see them working hard, like not necessarily working hard, but working in a thing that they want to do, and it leads to success because we do support our people on a certain level. I think that we need to shift the focus to predominantly supporting our own people, right? And
hey, Seth.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know one spot where our Black people spending their money in the weed stores.
Oh yeah. I sadly spend my money in the weed stores too, but I also support local.
Our Black women probably spend about a couple $1 million, dogs, up in them weed stores, dog.
Yeah, especially because you know where they located. It's like where more like affluent people are, and there's a lot of Black people moving into these areas. So it's like like young Black professionals and things like that, like King of Prussia, Collegeville, like, you know, Plymouth Mead, all those areas where there's like a bunch of, you know, Ardmore, like there's a bunch of affluent, like, you know, people, whatever. and there's a bunch of like dispensaries all over. So yeah, people spending a lot of money in that industry. I can't even remember the figure. My partner works.
What you
in
laughing
that.
at, Saya?
This girl on my Instagram, she said y'all going too far with the $1 million at the hair store.
Yeah, you funny, man. But basically, there is a lot of resources, right? There's something called
take advantage of the resources.
There's a good amount of resources. There's a company. There's a website called We Buy Black, right? And it has a lot of black. WeBuyBlack.com. It has a lot of black-owned products. You can search hashtags on Instagram, black-owned business. Like you can and just I think an important way to start. I'm not saying go buy black-owned for everything because one, a lot of black-owned things are priced higher than the market price because it's a small business. That's just going to be the reality of a small business. It's going to have the prices are going to be a little bit higher than your commercial businesses. That's just something that we need to accept as a people, period. What I think is the best solution to it is we go and we start converting small things. Like, hey, I'm going to convert my soap to black-owned. And then when you start supporting a black-owned business, you're going to start, again, I'm not saying that y'all not supporting black-owned businesses or anything like that. All I'm saying is that when you start supporting black-owned businesses, you start feeling that feeling of and intentionally spending your money. Like you start feeling a different feeling of I want to say it's happiness, but it's a good feeling, whatever it is. And so when you start supporting the people that you love and the people that look like you and the people that you care about and that care about you, it all is becomes a cycle, and people start supporting.
Let me ask you this, right? And I don't mean shoot our black people down, but
you good, bro.
It's not a shit with us. How come when you go in some of these black-owned places, man, they treat you rude and you're not greeted with the hospitality or the greeting that you would get from other businesses, even though they want your money and all that good shit. But our people, we have those crab in a barrel tendencies. And I think that also plays a part in us taking advantage of the resources that you're speaking about. And that's why I think to us, that would be some corny shit. Because we're fashionable. We want to show people we got stuff. And that's probably the reason why we don't really look towards that way. But the numbers show we spend the fucking money. We just don't spend it
let me address that. So I completely agree with you. That's an experience that we all as black people have where we spend our money in a black business and they don't treat us well. That's a reality. And or maybe it's not a reality for everybody, but it's reality for most of us. And so I think that the solution to that is why people are like that, who knows? There's probably a million reasons why somebody's not treating you well. Honestly, who cares? It sucks. And I think those people should straighten their behavior out and start treating people well, and people will support them more. That's just that. That's what it is. On the other side of that, I think that there's a lot of black-owned businesses.
It is.
So I think that one black-owned business is treating you wrong is like a Wendy's or a McDonald's treating you wrong at this point. You still going to go to a Wendy's or McDonald's. You might go to a different one down the street, but just go to a different black-owned business. Go to one that treats you well. We tend to use that as an excuse not to support black-owned stuff, but it's there's a lot of black-owned shit at this point. So there's no reason, I think, to not be supporting something black-owned on a consistent basis that makes a difference for that business. If that makes sense. Because you could convert the entire thing in your house. All right, let me convert, my Fronto leaf, to a black-owned Fronto leaf company. It's I can't, this blur thing is messing up my whole camera and all right, well, look at that.
Are you on your computer camera?
At Strictly Fronto on Instagram. But basically, it's just, at the end of the day, right, it's about spending our money more intentionally, right? And I'm not saying that looks any specific way for anybody because everybody's going to be different. Like, I'm not giving you a set of guidelines or anything like that. But at the same time, we need to start having a certain level of unity within our own people, even if it's not to individuals. So that means looking like, okay, John down the street treated me a certain type of way. I'm going to go down the street to Kyrie business instead. Like, because it's not necessarily about supporting one individual, but it's about supporting us all as a collective.
As a whole.
And if we don't spend that 13.4 trillion or whatever that crazy figure number was with our own selves, or 300 trillion, whatever it was, I think it's 300 billion. But if we don't spend that with ourselves, we're gonna spend it with people that don't care about us. And they have
we doing it already, Seth.
Yeah, and they have proven that they don't care about us over and over and over again. And until we decide to start spending our money correctly, like, or not correctly, but more intentionally, like we gonna keep allowing them to care about or not care about us like as much as, because at the end of the day, I don't think it's up to them. Like, at the end of the day, I think it's up to us.
It ain't. It's up to us.
And so our decisions really matter. Like, so, and that's like something. That's something that really that's pretty much it, bro. Our decisions really matter, bro. Like, every decision we make with our bread, with our time, with our energy, with who we choose to hurt or attack in our own communities, like, that shit matters a lot. And if we don't change that shit.
What are your thoughts on the designers that made the comments about how they don't care about black people buying their stuff? Like Michael Kors, Timberland mentioned that several times.
I mean, here's the thing.
He said, hey, mate.
Here's the thing, bro. They don't care at this point because, hold up, let me tell you why they don't care real quick.
Then they got rich already?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even gotta tell you.
They rich already.
You already know. They already rich, bro. They already have 85 million a year. Like, and so that over, how many years? That's 2022.
Yeah.
So think about Timberland 10 years ago. Like,
especially Michael Kors, man. And
think about what they invested their bread into. Like, they already own the new companies. It don't matter to them. None of that shit matters. They already too rich to care. All we can do is build our own shit. We can't take their shit away at this point. Like,
and what do you think, Saya?
So me personally, I think that buying is like one aspect of like our life, because obviously money like runs a lot of things. So the financial part is definitely one thing, but I think what Black people deal with has a lot to do with what starts at home. And we're kind of like against each other at home. So before we even get into the streets, it's like a fight with a competition, but it's also like a fight with ourselves. So it's like, to some extent, how can I feel comfortable going into the place that I'm used to being hurt or traumatized by to buy something? And to some extent, telling someone to just buy something because somebody is Black really wouldn't solve the problem like over a long period of time. I think what we do it is like kind of like what you were saying, like other people don't care about Black people, but we still spend our money there. So it's like, to some extent, if we were to care about each other prior to spending money, so it shouldn't take for you to be an adult or you buying Black. No, care about the children. When you make the children,
you're talking about the disease versus the symptoms, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, in a sense, where in order for us to really find a solution, we really got to figure out what's causing the sickness. And to some extent, it's literally how Black people are at home. We're not it's not unified. So regardless of if you buy Black or if you support Black businesses, or if you just, in a sense, like if you are a Black business, that's really not going to solve the issue. It's deeper than that. It's like a mind thing, and it's more so making brothers.
I was just about to say,
you just made it deeper too.
Yeah, right. True.
You got to make your brothers and sisters feel more comfortable. So the way I look at it, like, I'm Haitian, just to put that out there. So I look at things a little different when I see like the way Black Americans work, because as Haitian people, we move as a unit. Like, I don't have to know my Haitian brother. For me, if I see a Haitian person in the gym, I'm like, oh, sorry, I say, like, it's no question about it. We don't hesitate to greet each other. We don't hesitate. If I see, without you being Haitian, if you see a colored person or anybody in trouble, you want help. So it's like, when you see the natural black person car broken down on the street, ask them, are they okay? Especially if you're a black brother. Like, it's not just about, buying things, because 9 times out of 10, that brother is going to go buy a black thing because of the black people that treat him well. Do that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying completely. I think for me, I'm not saying that what I'm coming here to say was the solution to all of the black problems. I think I was just coming here to say, the money thing. However, what you're saying is more important than money. Mm-hmm. I firmly understand and agree with you when you say essentially mental health is the most troubling aspect of the black community, because there's so much self-hate. When you asked me before why it's like this, why we spend our money with white people or other people, I was gonna say self-hate. I got all off track or whatever, but self-hate, I think, and what you're speaking on, the family, which leads to the mind and like the unit. I think also one aspect of it is that when I say black Americans, I don't necessarily mean black Americans that know their heritage, if that makes any sense, because y'all definitely move differently, as opposed to black Americans that have no idea where they've come from, and that's a statistic. Psychology thing anyway, whereas like if you know where you come from, you act a different way than if you don't, which is an interesting concept. But
that's like, my topic right there.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I totally understand and agree with what you're saying. It's not really about money. I think money is an aspect of it because of the world we live in now. In my perfect world, we would all be living on farms.
Seriously.
I don't know farm.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying, like, you would have to grow your own food. You don't gotta live on the farm, but you gotta take care of yourself. So, like,
yeah.
All right, well,
you're not going to no grocery store and getting your chicken. In my world, I'm saying, that's not the world we live in. But anyway, Mr. Mike, thank you for having me on. And one more time, what was your name?
Saya Malone.
Saya Malone. Thank you again for your input, and thank you for taking it back also to where, like, it
originated from.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it does come down to the family unit. And not just the family unit, but the household. And then the mind within the people within that household. So, like, finance is under all that, keep it a bean. So,
whether you're a materialistic family growing up, do you care about this, or this person got that, I need that, and you wonder why some people got big bank accounts and some don't, but yet they walk around with outfits cost almost $500, but they ain't got $50 in the bank.
Yeah, the capitalism, materialism, and it's not natural to our people either. Like, if you really go over to other nations, people not, like, I mean, that's not true. Let me be real about that, actually. In my studies of Black people, I found different concepts in every culture of Black people. So I think anything can be natural to Black people. However, the best way for us all to live right now in harmony is a separate concept. If that makes sense.
It's not,
like, materialism is whatever. But that's not what we need right now. Like, and so, yeah. Because sometimes I think people want to say, like, oh, that's not natural to our people and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, if you look at these African kings, these men draped in gold most times. Like,
but then
if you look at the Maasai people, it's a little different. But they also have people in their culture that are contextually draped in jewelry and things, and there's a lot of people. I mean, there's the Mendi people, and like they're not really materialistic on that level. They're more like land people, like, and then there's like Zonian people that you find, like, it's just all over the place. And at some point, most of these people are black. So it's like, all right, like
It's that culture thing again. Where you at? Where you from?
yeah.
Why
So
you
so
black?
at the end of the day, I think it's about living intentionally, creating a culture that you care about, and like for me, it's about benefiting the collective. I don't think that's what it's about for everybody. But right now, we need more collective benefit than we need selfishness. So let's maybe aim to preserve the world as opposed to like preserving ourselves.
No, I agree. And from here on out, colored people should be more comfortable in general, like just checking in on each other, greeting each other. Like
Yeah.
it shouldn't take for for somebody to be frightened for you to see them or bleeding, and then you like, oh, are you okay? Like, no, when you see somebody walking down the street and they hit us down, how you doing? Give them a reason to lift it up in a sense. Like, and trust me, as a community, we won't feel a lot more comfortable going to our own people to do anything, because on the regular, this is who makes us feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
but I do
indeed.
agree with that.
And
I
on
do
that
agree
note,
with
people,
buy everything.
I appreciate both of
Wait,
y'all,
what?
but it's getting hot in here. I feel like Nelly right now. It's getting hot in here. Seth, I love you, Seth, and thanks for dropping those jewels. That was an eye opener right there.
Of course, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you for giving me a platform. I appreciate your persistence, and I can't wait to see you keep winning, brother. And we'll
My
see you
man.
next week.
All right, Saya, smooches.
All right, Zion. Nice to meet you.
You too.